Good. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the December monthly meeting of the Warren Town Council. First on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. And I would like former State Rep Jan Malik to lead us in that, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first on the agenda is the public comment. This is a place where if you want to speak to the council, ask a question, we can't take any action on it. This is for non-agenda items. Is there anyone that would like to use this public comment period?
Actually, I have something that was brought to me. Good question for our DPW director. Do you think that the trash will be delayed due to the traffic delay, the detour?
Right now, the only trip they made today took about 8 hours.
Wow. So
We're trying to move tomorrow, we're trying to work out.
it probably will be a delay in our still doing it. Okay, so everybody put your trash out. The regular scheduled day, and let's hope. That's all I have.
Anyone else? Okay, next item on the agenda is the election of town council officers. First is for the town council president. Do we have nominations?
I make a nomination that John Haley be our town council president.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Number two, we have the town council vice president. Do we have a motion?
Steve, you want it?
Yes.
Put that in the form of a motion.
Do we have a second? I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Didn't think so. Okay, here we go. Now we are at recognition. I'm gonna move the order around of these just a little bit. The first two, I asked Councilman DePasquale to present. You can do them in whichever order you want, Joe.
Okay. So about 8 years ago, maybe 9, I can't remember. I was having a discussion with Adam Tracy about an idea he and a group of people had come up with. And one in particular was someone I hadn't known, and his name is Uriah Donnelly. And bad move with the candy.
Bet you would have never thought Joe would be short of words, would you?
Don't want to choke. So Uriah Donnelly is being recognized for his hard work, dedication, and his inspiration, because he was discussing with me about an idea of creating a space for art, artists, and mainly children, or focus on children that could come and have a supportive area. And he was including everything in regards to poetry, music, and painting and drawing, and asked if I thought this would be a good idea. Wasn't asking my permission. They were just, I think we were having a drink and having a friendly discussion. And as we look back, it's been now 8 years of success. And Uriah was the one of the founding members and the director of this group, because creating a group is easy. Having it work together is hard. And now today, as Uriah has passed on the baton, we are going to recognize him. The Warren Town Council duly recognizes and appreciates your contribution as the founding director and creator of the collaborative. Uriah, if you could please come up and let everybody see your pretty face. Say a few words. Let everybody know what you did. the benefit of the organization.
Oh, geez. Well, this was a very nice surprise. I didn't know this was happening, so I didn't prepare anything to say, but it wasn't just me, but there was a lot of people that made the collaborative happen and that continue to make it happen. And the town is always very supportive of everything that we try to do, and hopefully that'll continue, but I appreciate you all. Thank you.
You.
And for those of you who have enjoyed the Warren Folks Festival, that's the collaborative's main fundraiser. And it's been a great success and has become an annual tradition. So now we're going to switch gears. We're going to switch gears to a different kind of dedication, a dedication that allows us to sleep at night, a dedication that gives us a security and an understanding of the hardships that many families go through when we deal with fire. And tonight, we're going to recognize someone who has contributed probably 50 years, but that's not the main focus. Tonight, we're here to give an appreciation, a certificate of appreciation to Dennis Ballou. Because whereas you joined the Narragansett Fire Company on February 1st, 1972 as a full member. And whereas for over 35 consecutive years, your service has included the position of truck steward of the 1965 Ward LaFrance pumper, the 1993 KME pumper, and presently the brand new 2023 KME pumper. And whereas he was appointed rank of captain of special hazards, his dedication to duty and attention to details are the highest caliber and highest standards to Engine Co. 3 and the Warren Fire Department. Now, therefore, we, the Warren Town Council, urge all our citizens to join with us in this expression of our appreciation to Dennis Ballou for his service to our community. Dennis, come on up. You're welcome. For those of you who don't know, a steward is the person who takes care of the truck. And if it wasn't for this guy, I don't think we would have gotten the amount of years that we did out of those units. You have anything to say?
It's been a pleasure serving the town all these years,
Well,
and I'm gonna continue on.
and hopefully we'll have you for another 35 years with this new truck.
That would be a push. Thank you very much, everyone.
Hey, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good guy.
Good.
Okay, next we have some more presentations, and I'm going to ask Vice President Kalenda to do these.
Good evening. Could I please have Lieutenant Mike Marcello come forward, Sergeant Danny Lanoy come forward, and Patrolman Darren Reynolds come forward, jeez. Yeah. Yeah. Is it- First, we have the promotion ceremony of Lieutenant Mike Marcello. A little background on Mike. Mike was promoted on August 13th from sergeant to lieutenant. Lieutenant Michael Marcello has been with the Warren Police Department for 27 years. He was hired in 1996 as a probationary patrolman, and in 2011 was promoted to the rank of sergeant, where he supervised the 3 to 11 shift. Lieutenant Marcello also holds the positions of the Department Firearm Instructor, Active Shooter Instructor, and Work Zone Instructor. Additionally, he holds a bachelor's degree in Administration of Justice from Roger Williams University. As a lieutenant, he will supervise the Detective Division. We also have a letter of recognition before we give you the oath of office. Certificate of recognition for Lieutenant Michael Marcello. Whereas he served as the Warren Police Department for 27 years, working his way up the ranks, and has performed such service faithfully under the most trying conditions in countless ways. And whereas he was hired in 1996 as a probationary patrolman, and in 2011 was promoted to the rank of sergeant, where he supervised the 3 to 11 shift. And whereas he currently holds the positions of Department Firearm Instructor, Active Shooter Instructor, and Work Zone Instructor. Additionally, he holds a bachelor's degree in Administration of Justice from the Roger Williams University. Now, therefore, we, the Warren Town Council, urge all our citizens to join us with this expression of our appreciation to Lieutenant Mike Marcello, who will supervise the Detective Division. Now, his official oath of office. Please raise your right hand. You, Michael Marcello, do solemnly swear that you will be true and faithful unto the state and support the laws and the Constitution thereof and the Constitution of the United States, that you will in all respects observe the provisions of the Charter and the ordinance of the town of Warren, and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of lieutenant for the ensuing term or until another be engaged in your place or until you be legally discharged therefrom, so help you God. I hereby certify the aforegoing oath has been taken before me, aforementioned Michael Marcello, on the 12th day of December 2023 in the town of Warren, in the county of Bristol, in the state of Rhode Island. Congratulations. Thank you. Now Sergeant Donald Lenoy. On November 13, 2023, Detective Donald Lenoy was promoted to the rank of sergeant. Sergeant Donald Lenoy has been with the Warren Police Department for 16 years. He was hired in 2007 as a probationary patrolman, and in 2021, he was promoted to the rank of detective sergeant. Donald Lenoy is a BCI certified and is a member of the Honor Guard. Sergeant Lenoy will be assigned to the split shift as a supervisor. We also have a certificate of recognition for you before we give you the oath. Whereas Donald Sergeant Lenoy has been with the Warren Police Department for 16 years, working his way up the ranks, and has performed such service faithfully under the most trying conditions and in countless ways. And whereas he was hired in 2007 as a probationary patrolman, and in 2021, he was promoted to the rank of detective. And whereas he is BCI certified and is a member of the Honor Guard. And now, therefore, we, the Warren Town Council, urge all citizens to join with us this expression of our appreciation to Sergeant Donald Lenoy, who will be assigned to the split shift as a supervisor. Congratulations. Please raise your right hand. You, Donald Lenoy, do solemnly swear that you will be true and faithful unto this state and support the laws and the Constitution thereof and the Constitution of the United States, that you will in all respects observe the provisions of the Charter and the ordinance of the town of Warren, and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of sergeant for the ensuing term or until another be engaged in your place or until you be legally discharged therefrom, so help you God. I hereby certify that the foregoing oath was taken before me, before the aforementioned Donald Lenoy, on this 12th day of December 2023 in the town of Warren, county of Bristol, state of Rhode Island. Congratulations. Patrolman Darren Reynolds, good evening. How are you? On September 1st, 2023, at approximately 11:30 p.m., officers were dispatched to the Water Street residence for the report of a male dying from an overdose. Upon arriving first on the scene, Patrolman Reynolds learned that the male was located on a rooftop patio and the male was unresponsive. In order to access where the male was located, he climbed the fire escape ladder on the side of the building to access the male's location and to render aid to the male who was still unconscious and not breathing. Upon arrival at the male's location, he immediately administered the department-issued Narcan and began CPR. A second dose of Narcan was then necessary, which then also administered to the male. Warren Rescue arrived at scene, which time the male began breathing and eventually gained consciousness. As a result of your immediate life-saving actions, the life of this individual was saved. Your actions are not only commended, but reflect your commitment to professionalism and duty to serve the community has come to expect of the members of the Warren Police Department. We also have a certificate of recognition from the Warren Town Council. Whereas on September 1st, 2023, at approximately 11:30 p.m., officers were dispatched to a Water Street residence for the report of a male dying from an overdose. Upon your arrival as first on the scene, you learned that the male was located on a rooftop patio. The male was unresponsive. In order to access where the male was located, you climbed the fire escape, the side of the building, to render aid to the male who was still unconscious and not breathing. Whereas upon arriving at the mail's location, you immediately administered your department-issued Narcan and began CPR. A second dose of Narcan was then necessary, which you then administered to the male. One rescued arrived on the scene, at which time the male began breathing and eventually gained consciousness. Whereas as a result of your immediate life-saving actions, the life of this individual was saved. Your actions are not only commendable, but reflect your commitment to professionalism and the duty that you serve to the community has become expected by the members of the Warren Police Department. Now, therefore, we, the Town Council, urge all citizens to join us with an expression of our appreciation to Patrolman Darren Reynolds, who has given so much to this community. It is signed by all members of the council. Congratulations. Thank you, gentlemen. At this time, I'm going to ask Chief Borges, please come to the podium, sir. Please come to the podium, sir. As he is reluctantly coming to the podium, something is about to take place that is overdone. Just before COVID, the Warren Police Department had their chief retired. And with counsel and with the support of the town administrator, we urged her to promote Chief Roy Borges to the interim. Then COVID happened. And during COVID, we never had an opportunity to formally promote him and to recognize him as our chief. So we, as the town council, felt that it was more than appropriate to do that this evening. His wife is present. I would like to ask her to please come forward. Could you please turn towards me, please, sir? I'm going to give it back. You even brought a Bible. Place your left hand on the Bible and your right hand. There you go. You, Roy Borges, do solemnly swear that you will be true and faithful unto this state and support the laws and the Constitution thereof, and the Constitution of the United States. That you will in all respect observe the provisions of the Charter and the ordinance of the town of Warren, and will faithfully discharge the duties of the Chief of Police for the ensuing time or until another be engaged in your place, until you be legally discharged thereof, so help you God. I certify that this foregoing oath was taken above the aforementioned Roy Borges on the 8th day of September, 2020 in the town of Warren, the county of Bristol, in the state of Rhode Island. Congratulations, sir. At this time, I'd like to formally I can still oversee an undercover operation. This was not an easy one to pull off. And before I return him, there is one quick story of how sharp a police officer the chief of police was. Because in the approximate 1990, there was a savory looking individual who was maybe speeding down Route 136 late at night, and the chief did pull him over. He was recognized as what he thought was a known drug suspect. It just happened to be me in my undercover car. He didn't realize it was me in my undercover car, and I can either confirm or deny that I might have been speeding. But he was doing his job then, and he will continue to do his job until we see fit. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Chief. It's nice to have you on board.
Thanks, Dan. It's my fault. Don't blame your wife.
And also, if you don't know it, the chief is also our interim town manager at this time, so. Okay, next on the agenda, we have appointments. Anthony, do we need to do these all individually, or can we do them as a lump sum?
Be done in a batch
Yep,
unless one of the council members wants to remove
okay.
one of the appointees to discuss.
And as they are being done in the batch, I do have a, I guess it would be a conflict of interest, but if we vote on them in a batch, I can vote on them. My brother is the alternate building official.
Just when you take a vote,
Pull that one.
accept with that one.
Okay. Do any counselors want to pull any of these individual? Other than we're gonna pull out my brother, Bill for the
Want to do building right
Alternate.
now?
Okay, yeah, we'll do that one first. Let's do the alternate building official. The
I'm-
applicant is William Hanley.
I make a motion that we appoint William Hanley as the alternate.
Second,
John's recused.
Some recused.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay.
It's back to you, sir.
Next, we will do the remainder of the appointments unless there any others that the council would like to pull out.
Nope.
Not hearing any,
Motion to appoint all of the applicants that were asked, they wanted to, I'm not applicants, all of the committee members who were asked to continue. That's my motion.
we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second,
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
aye.
Very good. Next, we have interviews. We have some positions open. Unfortunately, we have no applicants. So anybody that's in the audience, if you have some time, you want to help the town out, we have a bunch of positions on boards and commissions. We have an opening on the Joint Finance Committee, the Conservation Commission, the Juvenile Hearing Board, and the 250th Anniversary Commission. So anybody there or anybody in TV land, if you want to come help us out, we do need help. The more people that help, the smoother it works.
Mr. President,
Yes?
may I ask, or make a suggestion? This would be more towards the clerk, that when we have positions available on various boards and commissions, that the length of the term is listed in the title, so the applicant knows what the
What they're
length of
signing
that
up for.
term is going to be.
I think that's an easy enough
It's in the
thing.
back when we do reappointments, but it
Yep.
would be helpful to have it here
Okay,
and on the agenda for each of
Great.
those things. Thank you.
okay. Moving along, we are up to the acceptance of minutes. The first is November 14th, 2023, the regular council minutes.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next we have the November 30th, 2023 special scheduled meeting.
I wasn't at that one.
I will make a motion to approve these minutes to November 30th special meeting.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And last, we have the acceptance of the November 30th special executive session minutes.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pass
Pass
them
them
down.
down. We have them here. Okay, moving right along, we are up to 01 ordinance, garbage and trash. Anthony?
It's a very simple change to the ordinance. It was requested last month by Councilman Di Pasquale. The leaf pickup by ordinance is December 1st. That is in the ordinance. The request was to move that to December 31st, given the fact that snow does not fly as it used to, and residents have asked that the service be extended through the month of December.
You have any questions from the council?
Motion to change the ordinance.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
This is a first reading. so
Yes,
it'll
we
be on
need to
the
do a
agenda.
second.
Yeah,
Yeah. But we can temporarily enact.
Yeah, we can.
that's on the agenda.
Okay, yeah, it's a
It's
little
on-
further
it's on-
down.
Yep.
Yep,
Thanks.
okay. Next, we are on the double-sided print. You get me a little confused. Okay, first is, we're at the public hearing. Did I skip anything?
Nope.
Okay, we're at public hearing, PH1. This is a transfer of a Class A beverage license from Malik's Liquors to Baba Sama Inc. I believe this was, we'd like to continue this. Do we have a motion to continue this to next month?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next, we have P1, request for a yearly entertainment license from Trafford's Inc. Is there anyone here from Trafford?
Russell's here.
Please come forward.
Good evening. How are you?
Hello.
Hi.
Give us a little rundown on what you're looking to do, please.
Just acoustic music on Friday nights.
Okay.
One or two people, most, that's it.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, guys.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Okay, next we have request for an amendment of yearly entertainment license to extend to the theater from Beneath the Garden. Is there a representative here? Please come forward.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Give us a little rundown on what you're looking to do, please.
Essentially just extending the downstairs operation upstairs with regards to music. It'll be full spread. We do mostly just acoustic and quieter stuff in the bar since it's smaller. Upstairs will be full size music shows operating under the same hours that we have liquor wise that are already set up in the bar. So
Okay, Anthony, you look like you want
Theater, productions upstairs too?
theater upstairs as well. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so theater and music, comedy as well. Those would be the three. Yeah.
any questions from the council?
So the capacity up there is what, and how many people will be up there?
We're still kind of coordinating with the fire chief on that, and 200, I believe, is what we've been given. It was previously 180, but we upped it just a little bit. So
And that's being worked out now? would you
yeah,
say?
it's 180 seated, and then the other 20 is for whatever staff or artists might be.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve contingent on approvals with the fire chief and the building inspector.
Second.
That's correct. Yeah, the CO is temporary at this point. It needs
Okay.
to be a full CO.
Yep, okay. So we have a motion and a second to approve pending compliance with the fire and building official. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving along to correspondence. First letter is C1, a letter of recommendation from the town of Warren to the State Traffic Commission. Rapid rectangular flashing beacon at the existing crosswalk across Main Street located at the vicinity of Main and Crow Street, and for the installation of a no turn on red for the Metacom Avenue northbound approach to the signal intersection at Metacom Avenue, Child Street.
Do you want to read all correspondence or just?
No, I was just trying to,
Yeah, this was what we were sending.
I thought we were looking to do a resolution on it. Okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
Motion to approve all of the correspondence.
Is there any correspondence that anyone on the council wants to pull out first? No? That being said, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I just, the 3 letters of recognition, if we can send a letter thanking them for their service.
For the 3
Juvenile Hearing Board, Planning Board, and the Economic Development.
Absolutely amended to my motion.
Yep,
Okay.
second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next, we have old business. This is an update regarding a streetlight on Child Street, and this is coming from Vice President Calenda.
Thank you. So I was contacted by several individuals who live in the Twisted area that were interested in the traffic light. Our town manager, Kate Buchod, had sent out a letter. It was supported by the police chief. And I told Kate that I would follow up with it, and I was trying to get information from Sean Raymond, who is the contact at DOT. It took a little while, but I finally did get him on the phone. And at the end of the day, it basically said that the light was not warranted. However, they were going to do some modification to the roadway over there, adding some anti-slip pavement that'll ensure the traffic won't just fly off the road. And then I started to get into some detail about contact with them. And I actually mentioned if it would be possible to do road marking signage from the state line coming in that there's a bad curve. He said that would be an agreeable idea. They also mentioned if there would be a possibility for some type of flashing light that would indicate that you were entering into a bad curve area. He also said that would be a very good idea. And this is planning to be done on the 2025 road construction plan. So my guess is we'll have to do some more following up, but I felt it was appropriate to bring this to the council to let us know that at this point in time, there is not going to be a light at that area, but they are going to try and make some changes to accommodate the traffic.
Thank you. Okay, next one is OB2, and this is travel lanes on Metacom Avenue.
So since our last council meeting, we were talking about adjusting traffic patterns in different areas of the town, and I had Mr. Raymond on the phone. I asked him about the Metacom Avenue corridor. And I mentioned to him that if we presented our own study, and I know we've had lots of conversations about studies that the council has invested time and resources in. My point was, if we brought something that confirmed what they were saying, would that add any weight? And he said, yes. So my suggestion to the council if the council so chooses to follow this suggestion, is that we put out an RFP for an engineering firm. Fuss and O'Neill, who we do business with, is more than welcome to come in on this RFP. But I've had contacts with other engineering firms in Massachusetts that feel that they could serve our better interest because they work with smaller communities. I think an RFP would be a good idea, putting it out there to possibly take the 4 lanes, turn into a travel lane. They're gonna research every intersection, they're gonna research every possibility, and they're gonna make a report back to us.
Discussion?
Sure, absolutely.
Steve, this seems, an interesting, proposal, but it's a state road and we're gonna fund it with town dollars?
The study we would do.
Right, but I mean, shouldn't we be able to encourage the state to perform the study?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, you know financially. as
No,
well
I
as
know.
do.
I understand that. I felt, not to put any pressure on any member of the council, that we need to jump into this. But as the starting point, if this is the discussion that we're gonna have about changing traffic patterns, I mean, I can't understand why the state did the traffic pattern, and I'm not a traffic engineer. But you have from basically Arlington Avenue or Franklin Street to the town line, that's 4 lanes that dumps into 2, and then it dumps back into 2 when you come back down in front of Carroll Cable or 426. And it ends back on, 1 lane exiting. If a travel lane is the way to go, then, as I told our solicitor, we should be putting more pressure on the DOT than just kind of taking a right seat approach. I'd rather be in the left seat and drive this vehicle than be in the right seat and let them drive it. If we can get them to go down this avenue and say that, hey, we also support it because the study shows.
Well, I'm not, as you know, I'm an advocate,
Yes.
but
How do we pay for it?
yeah,
I
I just don't
understand.
feel we should have to put town dollars
Yeah.
into a state project that we can't even do without their
We
cooperation.
could do this as a two-prong approach. We could have the solicitor draft a resolution requesting the state
There you
look
go.
into this.
Sure.
And we can also go out for an RFP. It doesn't cost to go out for the RFP. Maybe we'll see what the price is. At least we'll know what we're looking at. It doesn't cost anything to request the RFP.
Again, I don't disagree. It's
Yep.
just that it does seem that the state won't take our RFP information. I mean, if we were able to follow through on this, and Mr. DeSisto can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that the state would be possibly increase their interest, but they are not going to accept
Right.
the data that's in a town-funded RFP proposal to alternate to their road. Do you believe that to be true?
That's a correct statement, but let me make a suggestion, because I think, what Council Vice President Belinda is proposing is just for the town to do a little due diligence to determine, whether or not this is a feasible project to begin with. The town planner has already drafted, type of an RFP for that. Council President is correct, he can send it out, see if it's feasible, but you're correct. Once that happens, RIDOC will go off and do what they do. But I think it behooves the town, if this is a proposal you want to pursue, to do your due diligence first.
Motion to approve.
So we want to do
The
we're gonna-
resolution.
for the RFP and also
And
the
the
resolution.
resolution.
Okay,
Including the language that are creating an RFP.
correct. Yep.
So maybe this should come back to us next month to approve language and make sure it is as we intend it to be.
Right, yeah.
We can do that, yeah.
Planner says he's ready to go.
Okay, and we can do the RFP, but maybe we'll just hold off on the resolution till we get a hard copy of it for next month.
I recommend that that's how you approach it.
Okay,
Well, I would agree with that. And I agree, that the expenditure, we'd have to take a hard look at that.
yes.
But any way we can encourage the state to look at this, I'm for it. I really am.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next we have NB1. This is from, Councilmember Cronin. Carrie?
Thank you. So As the agenda item reads, discussion and action authorization, council president to sign a resolution regarding an amendment to the Rhode Island general law to include Class A liquor licenses, sales in the levy and imposition of 1% tax on the gross receipts of the licensee. So the language on the resolution that we have here, I'm not sure if it accurately conveys what my intention was. When food and beverages are sold in our local eating and drinking establishments, our restaurants, the guest pays 7% tax on their meal and their beverage. 1% of that comes back to the cities and towns where those restaurants exist. It is helpful to us as a community who bears the burden of the consumption of alcohol and some very delicious food in those establishments to keep the health, the safety, to control to some extent the way people consume in our community. That doesn't exist with our 3 Class A licensed businesses. So the business collects 7% tax on the sale of alcohol, though I did discover that there has been an exemption since 2013 on the sale of wine and spirits, which I'm not sure I understand what the intention of that was. I see there are 2 experts in the room that might be able to help us with that, as you both own liquor stores. Do we know why in 2013 the state, can you answer that question? Why we did that?
Please identify yourself for those at home.
Jan Malik, owner of Malik's Fine Wine and Spirits in beautiful Warren, Rhode Island.
Yes.
That tax, you should realize you're a business lady. You own a nice shop on Water Street. It all came down to competition. Massachusetts at one time never had a sales tax on alcohol. People don't realize there is an excise tax that all the consumers pay for. So Massachusetts didn't have it. What happened was when Massachusetts implemented it and raised $127 million, the politicians got killed. They got killed by all the consumers, and they repealed it the following year. And when they repealed it, they started advertising it in Rhode Island papers that there's no sales tax in Massachusetts and there's a sales tax in Rhode Island. So to give you a little bit more credibility, a bottle of Captain Morgan half gallon at my store would be $29.99. In Massachusetts, just up the road, would be $29.99. But when you bought it in Mass, you paid no more. But in my store, you paid $2.50 more. So people started shopping Massachusetts. And at the time, I was a legislator, and I
Supported that.
oh yeah, because after talking to the Department of Beverages, alcohol, they didn't realize how much alcohol sales we were down in Rhode Island, because we bought in Massachusetts all the way from Tiverton, Newport, Portsmouth, all the way to Woonsocket. So what happened was they repealed it. They raised the excise tax, a hidden tax that I wish you people didn't know about it, but it's a hidden tax. They raised that. They raised like $8 million. And there was no sales tax on liquor and wine anymore. But there is a sales tax on beer,
On
7%.
bulk beverages, beer.
Yeah, and just to get a little back to what I think you're trying to do, I think what you're trying, or somebody's trying to do, it's,
I can explain what I'm trying to
no,
do.
no, but what I'm saying is you got to check the state law. The state of Rhode Island, when I was a legislator, is in a compact with other, with other states.
Mhm.
You can't have a 2-tier system and with tax, like charging liquor 3%, 2% here. It's across the board 7% in Rhode Island. That's why consider your business when they changed the rules of selling clothes. The first 250s is tax exempt. After that, it's 7%. A lot of people up there wanted to say, no, just tax them 3%. Your lobbyists, let's say, said, tax us 3%. They said, we can't. We're going to tax you 7%. So I see what you're trying to do, but I think it's illegal in the state of Rhode Island. You better do some research on that before, or have your state senator and state rep do some research on that
So
before.
what I am suggesting is that we don't add an additional 1%. I'm suggesting that we carve one of those 7 percentage points for the town. The remaining 6 goes to the state. I'm not suggesting adding more tax, so it wouldn't create a burden on our businesses to send business elsewhere, send customers elsewhere, because the tax would be higher here. The 7% sales tax would remain the same on
I see what you're-
the goods in your shops that are in fact taxable. So that would be the beer and the malt beverages.
And then-
Do you charge tax on anything else in your stores?
Well, we don't sell much else but that because that's against the law too.
So,
So,
you-
so chips,
yeah, chips, donuts, whatever.
peanuts, and that's basically it. Maybe a jar of cherries and
Well,
olives
those are
and
taxable.
et cetera. Oh, they are taxable.
So then, I
Yes.
would say a percentage of that would come here. So this would not in any way impact the actual business owners. It would
Yes.
instead generate a little bit of revenue into the town. Obviously, this would be something that we would hope would happen across the board. We couldn't do this. We couldn't say, oh, we're getting that, 1% of it, nobody else is. My intention was to have language that clearly stated that and then send it on to our reps, senators, as well as all the other cities and towns. And hopefully there would be an appetite for the state to say, sure, we agree that the cities and towns take an enormous burden in keeping their communities safe and healthy. I mean, there's health burdens associated with the consumption of alcohol, and I drink alcohol. But just we don't know. In a restaurant, there are the servers say you've had enough, you can consume no more. But you could sell somebody 5 handles in 2 cases, and it could go into a home in our community, and a very small number of people would consume that. We have no control over that, and them hitting the roads or making bad decisions. So my point is that by getting a little cut of that 1% of those 7% back into the community to defray some of the cost of keeping our community safe.
Can I just say one thing? I see your concern when you're saying the difference between restaurants and let's say liquor stores, but it just kind of bothers me to hear that because back when I was a state rep, Warren only had 20 Class BV licenses. Now I understand you're up to 32. So, I mean, I don't see any control over anything when it comes to alcohol with restaurants. So I don't think it's fair to try to control Class A licenses. I mean,
I think,
Okay. I think.
what she's trying to do is ask the state.
no, I know, I see what
1%
you're
of
doing.
their tax.
Right.
I don't know where the safety and all that's coming in.
Yeah, this,
I look at it completely as, if I could just help you, I look at it as a financial request to the state to give us 1% of the sales on the taxable beer and malt that's in Warren.
So it's basically what I'm understanding is
That's what I'm hearing.
it won't be an increased tax to the consumer. We're taking it from the state's end.
Yeah, we're asking the state for money. That'll go over well.
there are 7%. We want
Yeah.
1 of that percent to come to stay here in town or come back to the town. The other 6 can go to the state. And this is no judgment or statement on the business that you do. But the town still bears the burden of keeping the community safe and healthy, and some measure of control in this would be very helpful. We're not talking a huge amount of money here. I mean, the beer, malt liquor and beer is in the $350 to $400 million statewide per year. So if you take 1% of that and you distribute it per community based on the number of Class A licenses and the sales, we're not talking a huge amount of money here, but any little bit would help.
I understand what you're asking. I seriously doubt the state would even consider it because they would just get it somewhere else.
Well, we would like to rely on our state representatives and our senator to take the wishes of the Warren Town Council forward and present them with passion and with an expectation that it gets passed. And I have a feeling that the rest of the cities and towns would be equally interested in maybe getting a little bit of that revenue themselves. So I'd be interested in seeing where it goes.
Any questions from the council?
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Well,
Brent?
I think it makes sense. I mean, there is some oversight with anything, but, there's a little more oversight with alcohol. Let's just face it, so it's into our safety, issues and I can see the thought process. I think before we authorize the resolution, though, the language will have to be
Yeah,
fixed.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure that the language here appropriately conveys what I'm asking for.
Well, I've got some changes here, and I'm unfortunate, I think the resolution needs to go up. And it will almost certainly, be reviewed by legislative council and perhaps further revisions made in the bill itself. That's why I didn't want to draft anything.
Right.
I recommend that, you, delete, in section 1, Class A liquor license stores in those establishments that charge a 1% tax on grocery receipts and amend RIGL 44-18-3064. And any other section of Rhode Island general laws to authorize the imposition of said tax. Delete that. And in its place, put to include the sales tax on beer and malt beverages for the imposition of the 1% tax on grocery receipts from the 7% collected, therefore, to cities and towns.
From the 7%, that's the
Correct,
key.
yeah.
Mhm. Mr. Britta wants to talk.
Brito, would you like to speak? Please come up and identify yourself.
My name is Joseph Matthew Britta. I own property here in the town of Warren and other places. I'd like to make a suggestion, if I may, ma'am. And that is, in order to have some validity and character of what you're trying to do, I strongly recommend tabling this, meeting with your League of Towns, or having a consortium of other towns that you meet with, because if you have numbers, you're going to have traction. If you try to do it just Warren alone, regardless of who you have up there, it's not going to happen. But if you can have a conciliatory group of other towns agree with you that this is something you want to try to do, you may get some traction. But think of this. Do you think the state of Rhode Island is going to give you back 1% for your municipality when they're struggling themselves right now? But if you do it as an entity with other towns, then you have some traction. Just a thought. You may want to table it for tonight. Talk to some of the other towns, see if they're willing to sign on with you, and do this as a regional thing and not only as a town of Warren.
No, my intention was to, aside from sending it to the General Assembly and the speaker, is to send it to all of the cities and towns, the councils of all the cities and towns, as well as the League of Cities and Towns.
But I think you're missing the impetus behind what I'm trying to say, and that is get them on board with you first. Have a signature page of all the other municipalities on what you're trying to do, and do it as an entity and a group, as opposed to an individual sending other towns what your thoughts are and letting it stalemate. If you really want to make some traction on this, you do it as a mass entity with the other municipalities around you signing on to this and going forward with it. I think you'd get something. If at all the state's going to give you anything, at least you have more numbers.
I like that suggestion.
Well,
What's the,
but-
go ahead, Joe.
typically, Mr. Brito, this is the technical end of it, and then the follow-up and the lobbying is the second phase, and we do have people with the league that will take up this cause. So this is more of a technicality that we send, this is how we usually do it. We send it up and then we lobby on the fact that it's up there.
And then other cities and towns kind of jump on the bandwagon.
No,
That's the way
I
it works.
thoroughly understand. I mean, I've been doing this for a while,
Yeah.
but I'm just trying to, the story's behind the story. If you approach the other municipalities, tell them what you're trying to do, get them in numbers. So when they do get this, it's not an aha moment. It's, we agree, this is the reason why, and they endorse you, as opposed to an educational process. Thank you.
I have to say, I agree with Mr. Brito that, you know, getting out in front of it, makes some sense. Because, you know, we as a council and other councils get, you know, numerous resolutions, you know, from other towns asking us to sign on. And if someone's had done some outreach, you know, it's a matter of doing outreach. I think it would be effective.
So do you want to just send a request to this other cities and towns? How would you like to approach this?
I would like to get the amended language to this, then I would like to reach out individually to each of the cities and towns, go through their councils, get them signed on, also reach out to the League of Cities and Towns, because I think having them aware of what our intentions are will improve our chances of having this be a successful endeavor. So
Okay.
I think between now and the January meeting, given, if we approve the resolution in the
As
spirit
amended, yeah.
that we intend it to be, then we can take it and lobby between now and the January meeting.
So it's not necessarily a table.
No.
No.
So we want to
We wanna-
continue it to next month till we get the new resolution?
No, I think we can, as Mr. Councilman DePasquale said, the technicality of approving this resolution is a box that needs to get checked tonight. Then we
Okay.
can take it and move forward with bringing everybody else on board in the state.
Okay, so let's put that in a motion.
So I would like to make a motion that we approve this resolution with the amendments suggested by the solicitor that would realize 1% of the 7% sales tax on beer and malt beverages on the Class A licenses and the
And
town,
we
come back
also-
to the town.
Send it to, yeah, and we want to send it to all 39 cities and towns as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
With a cover letter to the council president and the town managers.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Thank you.
Next, we have NB2. This is also brought up by Councilwoman Cronin.
Well, it was brought forward by both myself and Councilman DePasquale.
No, I pulled it.
Oh.
After listening to Mr. DeSisto, I mean, you can continue, but if you include me on that, I'll simply state my position because the number of people in the town needed, we've already exceeded. The petitioning for an additional license was done in Smithfield, and that was actually never issued. So there was a lot of problems in that already. And when you increase, you're asking to go over the allotted number that our population, we're already over what our population has for the number we have. And then it's an open opportunity for anybody to apply. So it's not like you can increase the number like with a restaurant where someone comes in and asks for a liquor license. If we were to ask the state to increase the number, which we're already over the number, the 3 we have. So that first and foremost would bar us from it. Then if they gave us an additional, which they wouldn't, it would then be open to the public. And Mr. Brito's family had previously had the 4th license in town, and that was what was relinquished when they did the audit of population. So, Mr. DeSisto, if I'm wrong in any way, but that's why I pulled my, my initial request for discussion on it.
And I'm
This-
I'm actually on better grounds on this one than I was with the tax one. Frankly, I couldn't figure out the taxing scheme for this.
Okay, but may I just say, so this Class A license, towns and cities of less than 10,000, that's not us.
No,
No, what you need to do is take a look at section 3-5-16-3.
I don't have that.
The Class A liquor license, unlike other liquor licenses, is limited by population. That's why you can increase your number of BV liquor licenses because there's no limit by statute. For city or towns actually with a population of less than 20,000, the towns are allowed 1 Class A liquor license for 4,000 residents. Okay? A minimum, however, is at 2. Warren at 11,000 is eligible for 2 liquor licenses. There are currently 3. I'm not going to get into the reason why. There is an opportunity to change the license under subsection 5 of 3-5-16. The town of Smithfield is allotted 5 liquor licenses. I have no idea what their population is. So in order for this to take place, you would need to convince the General Assembly that Warren should have 4 Class A liquor licenses, 2 over what they would be entitled to in the population. Is it possible? Yes, it is. It is. I'm not saying it's probable, but it's possible. It is. That said, however, first you need to get it through the General Assembly on it. And secondly, I think you have to make the case as to why it should be not only just 1, but 2. That's the way it breaks down.
So even though we have 3, we'd still have to convince the legislature that we want to go 2 over, even though we have 3.
We're already 1 over.
So we're not really going 1, we would not really be asking them to increase it by 1. We'd be technically asking them to increase it by 2.
2 over.
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Your 3rd license is great grandfathered in. And I'm not gonna get into the reasons why.
No, okay.
Carrie?
So there seems to be this mystery, something bad happened in Smithfield that would deter us from wanting to move forward?
No, I'm not aware of anything that bad happened in Smithfield. All I know is that when you ask the question, the answer is when you take a look at 3-5-16, it has this equation. If the municipality is over 20,000, then it's 1 Class A liquor license per 6,000. If you're below the 20,000, it's 1 Class A liquor license per 4,000, with a minimum of 2 Class A liquor licenses for any community. And there's some communities with a population like 4,000. So they get at least 2. Smithfield, for whatever the reason, they're the only one that says, well, Smithfield gets 5. I don't know how many they are over. I know Smithfield is a large community. And in fact, I think they're over 20,000 now. I'm not sure even when this happened in the statute, but that's what it is.
But isn't it correct that the last one that they increased hasn't even been issued?
I've been told that, but I don't know it for a fact.
That's what I was told.
Okay.
And that's why I decided that this was something that I didn't think was
Yeah,
a reason to move forward on.
what I just wanted
I
to say
pulled it.
was you're already 1 over,
Correct.
and that your great grandfather did on that one.
All right, well, I think I understand better how the position that we're in. And I'm going to guess that the 2 gentlemen in the front row were here to oppose us creating a 4th one if it was possible, or if there was support for it.
That's very possible.
I'm just wondering, this is an odd Tuesday night to be here in the room.
We gonna do public comment?
I think
Yeah,
they're
I
here
mean,
because
yes.
it's on the agenda.
Eventually I was gonna have them speak depending on
Yes,
if you wish to proceed. Hang on 1 second.
To your co-
Malik, please, hang on.
Yeah,
I don't, if you want to proceed, then I will open it up to the public. If you want to withdraw, then that will be the end of it.
if the person who had originally moved us to this place were here to,
I don't know if you could say moved us.
Yeah, well, no, it's just,
we
Yeah.
were all part of a
Yeah, I bet you,
communication.
yeah. no.
Well, we got an email from
Yeah.
someone.
And so we all know why this discussion took place, but
Okay.
that person is not here. So I see no reason in moving forward with it.
okay.
Well, just so you know, I contacted that person and let him know that I had no interest in
All right,
pursuing.
Well, we're not talking about an individual here. It's Councilwoman Cronin. Do you wish to proceed or would you like to withdraw this?
I'm comfortable withdrawing for the time.
Okay.
I don't think there's any
So
need to go forward with it right now.
I guess we need a motion to withdraw OB2.
Motion
or-
to.
Don't even need a motion?
And no
Okay.
action.
Okay, so no action will be taken on
No action.
OB2.
Moving on.
There we go. Next, we have new business, NB1. discussion and action authorizing the town council
Now,
president.
we just went
we
through
already-
that.
Yeah.
We're
we
on
did
to
that.
solicitor.
Oh, yeah,
We're on to the
yeah,
solicitor.
I'm sorry.
Use your good eye.
Use my good eye. It's the double-sided page, it's got me all
Yeah.
messed up, you
We
know, I
don't
don't
like
know
the
which way I'm
double-sided.
turning it.
We have.
Some are,
both.
some
We have double-sided.
Some are,
It's
some are.
difficult.
I got both.
We have both.
That's
Yeah, I
okay.
have both.
We're saving paper.
All right, next we have the solicitor. Number one, executive session for potential litigation, Anthony?
I'd like to request, an executive session to discuss a matter relating to town policies, including finance, that, are,
I didn't know.
that could result in litigation.
Can we have a motion for executive session?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All, okay, roll call vote. Councilwoman Cronin,
Aye.
Councilman Hecker.
Aye.
Councilman Di Pasquale.
Aye.
Vice President Kalenda.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay. Next, we have another request for executive session.
No, it
Oh,
is-
no, this is,
No, it
this
isn't.
is discussion and action, Anthony. This floor is yours.
This matter has been, on the agenda in executive session for several months now. And I can tell you that this is probably the most difficult case that I've ever been involved in 39 years of practicing, law. The case of Pereira versus Warren, involved at the time of the accident, a 1-year-old child that was involved in a, very horrific, injury, a very horrific, accident that resulted in some severe injuries. The town of Warren was, one of the defendants in the case. The other was the car seat manufacturer. The town, was represented in this case by the Rhode Island Interlocal Risk Management Trust. That's the town's insurer. In the course of the defense of this matter, the town, the trust retained several experts, not only as to the town's liability, but also to the potential for damages in the case. And as you know, we've been discussing that in executive session. Excuse me, was the conclusion of those experts, as well as our insurer, as well as the attorney that was retained by the insurer and me, that the risk of damages in this case were very great and would bankrupt the town. In the course of the case, however, there were negotiations and a settlement was achieved. And that settlement is the policy limits from the trust policy for the town, which is $5 million. $5 million from the town this fiscal year. And then in the 3 succeeding fiscal years from here, $1 million a year. The recommendation from the insurer, these experts, the insurer's lawyer and me, was that the town accept this settlement. Because if this case went to trial, the risk of damages, the exposure for the town would be multiple times that. And I can't get into how this happened when this settlement took place for a couple of reasons. Number one, this case is under seal. Why is that? This is under seal in Superior Court. Why is that? Number one, because the plaintiff in this case is still a minor. And because of that, because it's a minor, and also to protect the privacy of that young plaintiff and his family, the case is under seal. The case will continue on against the car seat manufacturer. The town, however, with this settlement, is out of the case and will no longer be a part of it as it continues to go on. I'm constrained to talk about the facts of this because the case is under seal. And I understand that there are implications for the town and the town's finances on this. But based on the exposure, if this case went to trial, the recommendation is that the town accept this settlement.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the council? No? The town did accept this settlement. by a vote of the council. And I agree with the solicitor, it was under advice from several attorneys. The information we had, this was, I want to say, the lesser of two evils. If we would have not have taken this settlement, it could have ended very badly, for the town of Warren, like as in bankruptcy, liquidation. So, that's
Is there,
where-
is there any action that's needed from us now, since we've already accepted this in the past?
To take a formal vote, if you would, please.
Okay, so could we have the form that in a motion, please?
I make a motion that we accept the advice of the solicitor and finalize the position on the Pereira versus Town of Warren.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It's a very sad situation, but I thank you for bearing with us through this case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anthony. Okay, moving on, we have planning and community development. First item is discussion and action and authorization for the, for an extension of the DEM grant.
Basically, of the items that I have before you, this is essentially just a second, goes back to, I think, the 2020 timeframe. We've had one amendment that you've approved. What we're looking for is a second amendment and restatement of agreement for the Wood Street Pump Station resiliency improvements. This is a $250,000 grant that's coming from RIDEM, and it's matched with $250,000 from the town. It's part of the larger Wood Street Pump Station improvement process. So essentially what we're doing is we're not yet ready to do the improvements on that, but we are looking to extend the contract to keep this going. And then that basically buys us another year. And what I'm in the middle of doing as well is reassessing with Woodard and Curran basically all of the capital projects that we have before the wastewater treatment plant, including this one. So what I'm looking for, at least the allowance to continue this for the time being.
The question I have, and Councilman DePasquale has, I'm gonna actually direct this at the solicitor. Is this money allocated? Is it in the general fund? Do we know?
Well, wait, look, can I rephrase the question? Is there a deadline? Is the asking for a continuance on this agreement, meaning that the 250,000 we have now going to be expended?
If you do not extend the contract will expire at the end of this month. And we will lose the opportunity of the $250,000.
But what I'm asking is,
We're gonna match.
if we extend it, are we committing that 250,000 right now?
If,
No? Okay, we're going to be dealing
No,
with
you're
the
right.
the financials of the town. So right now, our due diligence is to make sure that every action we take doesn't necessarily mean that there's an expenditure of dollars right now.
correct.
So as long as that's the case, that's fine with me.
And keep in mind that this is the wastewater. So generally, the operational related stuff of the wastewater falls under the enterprise zone portion of this and not under the general fund, but
No.
that's controlled by the town. But also there are capital funds that at least have been identified. But I'm agreeing with you.
I
just
understand.
identified.
I'm just
Well,
saying
but
that
this doesn't lock us into.
we're not spending the money right now.
Correct.
because We're going to be going through our numbers in the next, as many weeks as it takes to figure out where we are in our spending and what's here and what we can utilize. So there could be a restructuring, in other words, what I'm saying. That $250,000 matching fund may or may not be kept there.
I understand.
And that goes, that
And
goes
essentially, I'm
for-
looking for the extension of
so
the
that's
contract.
fine.
Yeah.
I just want everybody
Okay.
to know.
Yep.
This gentleman is, Mr.
It's our new finance director.
Correct, and I'm reading your facial expressions. Do you have something to add, please, to help me?
Wanted to ask Mr. Griffin, is this a time and materials contract so we can ask the supplier to do work or not do work or just on retainer? Or what is this, are they gonna actually spend?
It's not really a contract yet.
For the particular project or for the group that's working with the town on this? Are you talking about specifically Woodard and Curran?
Yes.
Woodard and Curran is our contracted engineering firm that helps to manage our wastewater treatment plant, because in our department, we don't have staff persons per se.
They're
Yeah.
just gonna be on call, so we can go to them if we need to, so this just extends the time of the period of performance. And then if we don't need them, we won't incur any expenditures, or are we going to incur some expenditures if we do extend the contract?
I would have to look into your question because I can't answer that directly tonight because I'm not as familiar with the contract. I basically,
Excuse me, I understand what it is that we're looking at.
Correct, yeah.
So as long as us approving this extension doesn't
Cost the
attach the
money.
250,000 at this moment,
correct.
I'm fine with it.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
And I think we all are.
And
As
so.
long as you're absolutely sure that that doesn't,
The
there's-
next time would revisit this would be at the end of the contract extension, which would be the.
Or once something was prepared and we needed to sign off on an
How far
agreement,
out is that?
on a contract.
Right.
Correct.
So this will extend you out to, so this would extend the actual total project out to December 31st of 2025.
Okay.
But the actual work would have to be done by September 30 of 2025
Okay,
under
so-
this. And just keep in mind that the actual work involved for this particular piece of infrastructure, the Wood Street Pump Station, this amount is a pittance compared to the total work that needs to be done.
Okay. All right, so basically this is it. So could we have a motion?
motion to approve the extension for the Second Amendment to the state.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next we have discussion and action for the East Bay Community Action Program, Warren Health Equity Zone.
This is simply a letter of support. There's no commitment of staff or the town on this, but we are a strong partner with the Health Equity Zone that is under the East Bay Community Action Program, and wanted to make sure that the town was aware that they are applying for funding to do some community engagement in realizing climate action, and they asked us to put a letter of support together, so that's what I've put
Okay.
together for your consideration.
So the question of the evening, is there any matching funds expected?
Not
for the
from us
application?
at all.
Okay.
Motion to approve the letter of support for the East Bay Community Action Program Equity Zone.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next is discussion and action on a retroactive approval for the on-call services for the Penny Lane Comprehensive Permit. Please. elaborate.
First, just apologize because this issue occurred in between meetings, so I'm one to try to bring stuff to you in advance so that you can approve it. In this case, I had to utilize the town manager to proceed with some authorization of funding, so I'm doing a retroactive action with you. But when we get development review permits, especially under a comprehensive permit, the town does have the authority under our ordinances to charge an applicant for specified services. In this particular case, I need some engineering services for the Penny Lane Comprehensive Plan Development Review. It's sophisticated enough and it's large enough of a project where I need expertise, a physical engineer to do this, to help me out. We're allowed up to charge the applicant up to $5,000. The applicant has been charged $2,000 at this point. The contract that I received for on-call, basically the on-call services, is presently written at $3,600 because I anticipate we're only at the master plan level. There'll be a preliminary plan level with regard to this where we'll have more of the gory details from that standpoint. So as we get the next application, there'll be some additional revenue that will come from the applicant. I will asterisk this, that I'm sure the applicant, who is East Bay Community Development Corporation, will ask for a waiver of the fees from that standpoint, like they have for the application. So that's a future decision to be made by the planning commission, as I understand, under the comprehensive permit, not you folks. If I'm wrong in that,
I wanna
the
ask
solicitor will,
The planning commission can waive our fees?
under a comprehensive permit, there's requests being requested for waivers of certain fees. For instance, the application fee, the development and review fees that I'm asking for tonight.
Developer can ask for
This makes me very nervous under this is one part of where I have an issue with a comprehensive permit, that there's a lot of.
Is this the fast track you're referring to?
This
Yeah,
is- Yeah,
comprehensive
sorry,
permit.
yes.
Developer
Yes,
gets
Yeah,
to
but
ask
correct, and the
you-
planning commission does the
They
review.
have fiduciary responsibility.
I've got a question out to the solicitor. The planning commission can waive our fees?
No.
What happens is when you have a comprehensive permit application, there are things that towns are supposed to do to further the application. One of them is a waiver of fees. That's not something that they have to do. It's something they may do. In this instance, however, the benefits to the applicant, correct me if I'm wrong, is they're asking for a so-called density bonus. So to me, once that's happened, it's not appropriate for these fees to be waived, particularly when it comes to the engineering.
Okay.
Right, right. So I'm just making you aware, I'm in total encampment with the town
Should
solicitor,
we
that
send
these
them-
fees are
Oh,
absolutely
we can, then
necessary.
maybe
Should we send a letter to the planning board? Is that
telling them Not to
possible?
waive the fees. That
Out
may,
of position?
Not appropriate.
yeah, that's
Do that,
inappropriate,
something
yeah.
that begins on the administrative level.
Yeah.
Myself, Ben, and
Okay.
Rudolph.
Yes, Rudolph, I wore my Christmas shirt for you folks on purpose.
Is
Okay.
it common?
And in light of the liquor.
Is it common for the engineering fees to be waived as well as the application fees? Does that happen in other projects in other communities for these?
I don't consider the payment from the applicant developer for these and the costs of engineering to be a fee.
No,
That's my opinion,
Okay,
and it's the town's position.
okay,
okay,
good.
right behind it.
Okay, do we have any other questions or do we have a motion on that?
One more question for the planner. So the reason we aren't using Fuss and O'Neill is because Fuss and O'Neill is actually working for this developer.
Correct. Fuss and O'Neill
So
is
that's
the
the
engineering
reason you
firm
need-
for that.
That's the
That's why
reason-
we need the third.
That's
party.
why you're asking for. the
Correct,
Beta.
and I had deferred back to, actually, Beta Group used to be your on-call engineering
Right.
firm, so I defaulted back to them.
All right, so motion to approve the $5,000 because we have to.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Thank you.
Number
You're welcome.
4, we have discussion and action, resolution support the contracted extension for RIDEM recreation.
The Burrs Hill Park and Town Beach improvements, similar to the very first agenda item I talked about. I'm looking to a contract extension. This would be the second amendment and restatement of the agreement. Basically, we need some more time on this because there were delays in getting the CRMC permit. We also had an adjacent property owner that weighed in that required us to change the configuration of the buildings out there. And also, we're not yet at the point where we're going to be doing the lighting and the path connection, but we are well along the way in terms of the buildings. We've also already completed the playground equipment. So again, this is trying to get us into the next year with regard to already committed
And
monies from
again, I
that
ask, this is an
standpoint.
extension, not a commitment of the funds at this moment.
That's correct.
That's correct.
May I ask a question? Do you have a design? Is there a design available for any of us to see?
Meaning they've
We-
already built it.
No,
Yeah,
there's
so
no-
The foundations.
There's a foundation. There's
They
nothing
built the building.
There's
No,
the,
there hasn't.
At that park?
At Burrs Hill Park, there's a foundation.
Foundations.
Yeah, there's no building.
What are those buildings that are there?
When did they go up?
They've been working on them all.
But we never saw a design. We
Yeah, we did.
declined or
Of course we did.
no, we didn't. We never saw an actual design here at the council. We
I
saw
believe
the
we did. They-
original proposal that were
It
those
was rejected.
that we
basically.
rejected and we never were given, and this is what the new design is. These are the materials.
Yes, we
I
did.
believe we were presented the new design.
We voted on it.
Oh, okay, well,
Well, the designs, people were asking where the design is actually.
it's,
And
there's,
I-
yeah, there's
I
nothing.
apologize that I'm still in my honeymoon phase, right? So that I was not employed at the time when you had this previous discussion, but from a head nod in the back of the room, from the rec director, my understanding is that you have seen copies, but I will take from this meeting that understanding that there's some confusion, and I will get information to the board, at least as correspondence for your next meeting so that you can understand that.
When we looked at the proposal from Chris Blank, he had the whole picture was right there.
Yeah.
We gave the contract, we looked at it, all the buildings, how they would do.
Okay, you have a better memory than I do, and there, it's not available to the public anywhere that I'm aware of.
Oh, it is. No, that actually
I
is.
don't know if it's on the website.
It's not on.
I don't think it's on the website.
It's a town document. Of course it's available.
I
Well,
would
we
like to
had,
be able to.
the people that
take
asked for it. and-
Well, I guess these are two
Hang
different
on, I
subjects.
think the building official has some information for us.
Okay,
Good evening, Matt Cabral, Building Zoning Official. So there was an issue, the developer, he hand drew the plans. So there was the plans that you saw, the plans that were submitted to me were hand drawn. When there was also,
napkin, I mean,
so what happened was there was issues with, obviously the building has to meet standards of ADA. So he went out to a professional architect. Then the professional architect brought the plans. We have them, they've been approved. They matched basically what was approved here, but it was a professionally drawn. What you saw was a conceptual plan. The actual plan that he had the architect draw was a structural, professional stamped architect plan. So we have them. I apologize if no one saw them. The actual professionally drawn plans, they are on the website. If you go on, you can find them under the public records. And if you like, I can forward them all to you tomorrow.
Well, I think that's where the confusion came in. Because what we saw were conceptual and not the actual plans themselves.
I think
And-
I saw what
and-
Matt.
and
is
people-
referring to.
People actually asked me where the plans are, and I said that I can't find them anywhere. Went to the office and we were told that they're being worked on. So I think that's where the question came from, and
And that was what was happening. The plans that were submitted were hand drawn. I requested as I can for professionally drawn plans.
By state law, they have to have an architect stamp on them
Right.
for a commercial space like that.
And as for the status of the project, the buildings are constructed already. They're almost in the final stages. I conducted the framing inspection and all the sub-trade inspections were done last week. The sewer hookup has been completed. They're working on that this week. So the trench through the parking lot won't affect next year's beach activities.
Okay, I think, getting back to your question, Joe, is this gonna make us expend some funds? I think extending the contract is not gonna make us expend any more funds than we already are legally obligated to because of the contracts that are in place to build the buildings.
But the way that we spend that money may change.
Joe, if we got a contract with somebody to build buildings and they finish them, we gotta pay them.
And we may be doing that through a different financial source than the general fund. So right
Correct.
now,
Okay.
all right, but what is appropriate is to ask that by us approving this extension, isn't spending money attached to this by this action, correct?
And also, is this action, if we take no action, does it stop us from money that's already committed?
I think what you need to do because of grant funds involved is to go forward.
Okay.
Again, I'd say I have no problem continuing the agreement, but until we know how and where we're gonna get the funds from, if you're in agreement that us extending the agreement is fine, I want to continue. I'm just concerned that we're gonna be having some financial meetings in the very near future that may show us how we're gonna pay our bills.
But I'm gonna recommend that you
It's
vote.
my job.
Because I'm gonna say this, if you don't, the town could be on the hook, for even more money.
Again.
And damages,
So I'm gonna
correct.
say go ahead and do that.
Okay, motion to approve.
It's a required match.
Yeah. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to Public Works, discussion and action regarding bid for street paving services.
Yeah, I recommend that you reject all these bids. And
Okay.
I've had a discussion with DPW director who can't make it tonight because he has COVID. But Deputy is here and has a letter from him recommending that
We reject all bids.
these bids
Okay.
be rejected, every single one of them.
Okay, can we have a motion from the council?
Motion to approve.
Motion
Rejecting
to
the bid.
reject
Motion to reject.
all bids. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Absolutely.
Okay, number two, we have discussion and action to temporarily extend leaf and yard waste pickup to December 31st. This goes back to our ordinance amendment that was in first reading, and basically this is just, give it.
Motion to approve the warm weather as continued leaf pickup and the bags are all over town.
We have a motion. Do
Second.
we have a second? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Now, double-sided again. Here we go. Discussion and action, request to sell to the highest bidder the following. We have a recycled truck, an F-450, a 2009 ambulance, a Chevy 2500, a roll-top desk. That's very strange to come from the DPW to sell, but okay, we got a roll-top desk and a Ford Taurus. Is there any questions from the council on,
I make a motion that we put the roll top desk in the Ford, in the four-wheel drive truck. Motion to approve the bid.
motion?
Second.
Are we making a motion to approve the
To sell to the highest
the
bidder.
declines and the approvals as stated here in this, because there are 3 that are approved and 3 that are declined.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm
Yes.
making a motion to
Yes.
approve the bids from the DPW.
And declines.
And the decline.
And decline the ones that have no sale.
Right, yep. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next, we have the rec director. Discussion and action to add language to the Warren Dog Park rules and regulation.
Hi, Tara.
Hi. So I want to, request that we add, dogs must be spayed or neutered. It is something that's in most dog park rules. We had omitted it originally, and there's been a request to add it, and so I'm just, the rec board approved it to bring to you. So I'm
Motion
asking
to
that we add.
approve.
Second.
Motion to approve the language change and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And the next one is the rates for summer camp, Tara?
So this is a request to increase the rates that we currently have. This is in according with what Bristol actually is doing as well. It's to bring our residential rates from 250 to 300, which would be the sibling increase of 125 to 150, and then for non-residents to go from $400 to $500.
Motion approved.
This is,
Second.
this is pretty much income.
Yeah, we haven't
See how
raised the rates in
neighboring
in a
cities
couple
and
of years.
Yeah, neighboring cities and towns is very similar. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next, we have the town clerk, and these are for the meeting dates for 2024. There's one that's tentative, Sandy, that's because of the possible of a primary.
Primary might be either the 3rd week or the 4th week of August. Secretary of State Board of Elections, I believe, want to put legislation in, so I just want to hang on to that just in case they do that and just have the day before, or we can have the following week on a Tuesday.
Okay,
I
and,
have enough weeks to advertise for the October, so
And
it's
the-
up to you.
and the solicitor does say that we have to publish this at the beginning of every year. We can change the meeting dates if we need to, correct?
Correct. It's under the open.
Motion to approve the scheduled meeting dates for 2024.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's it. That will bring us to the
Executive session.
executive session. You have a motion to go into executive session.
So moved. Well,
We
we
have a
already
second?
made them.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right,
we
yeah.
already.
Okay.
Are we going into a room or are we gonna stay here?
Stay here.